want to say what happened to me once I stopped reading the Word. I mean, it was like a month, maybe probably over a month that I stopped reading the Word. But let me say first that after the pandemic, um, I started reading the Word daily. I mean, get up in the morning, pray, read the Bible before work, during work, go and get a coffee, come back, read the Bible some more. Um, Downloaded the Bible app. I was following along while they were, you can listen and work out and listen to the Word while I'm working out. I tried to read the Bible from the beginning, from Genesis, and I would get like halfway through and put it down. This was prior to the pandemic. Halfway through, and then I just decided, let me just, you know, start reading a book out of the New Testament. And I started with Romans, and then but I went back to the beginning of the New Testament with Matthew, and I started reading, from there, and 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 felt really close to Jesus. Felt really close to him, staying in that Word. But then recently, I stopped reading a Bible for about a month, maybe probably over a month, and I felt this disconnect, like this disconnect. And other stuff mattered more. Like I would get up in the morning and watch the football highlights, the NFL highlights, or check what like the players were doing, like in fantasy football, check and see what they were doing, or going on Twitter X and looking at what was going on, you know, um, like with Trump and different things like that, and then um, trying to find ways I could make a small investment and make a lot of money, and I felt that disconnect, but at the same time, I was feeling comfort in these things. It's weird. You find comfort in worldly things, when Jesus is the one that is is what matters, you know. And, we're supposed to. And here's a small story of how that you're disconnected. And in Matthew, it tells you, I believe it's Matthew chapter 6, where you don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. If you're giving, you do it in secret. I mean, if you're boasting about it, then that's your reward to who you're boasting about. You want your reward to come from God. Um, I was in a convenience store, and there was this young gentleman ahead of me. He was teenager, young teenager, and he had his chips and his drink, and he had a gift card, a Wawa gift card, and he tried the gift card, and there was no money on it, so the cashier said there's, insufficient funds, there's no money on it, so he left it on the counter. It was in the bag, she had put it in the bag, but then he started to walk away, and I didn't think anything of it until the gentleman behind me said, wait, told the young gentleman to wait, and he says, I got it, I'll pay for it, and I'm walking back, and I'm thinking that's something I would have did, but if you're disconnecting yourself from God, then how are you going to do, you know, His will, or these mighty works, And we know you're not saved by works, but if you are saved, you're gonna, do good works, Um, just like in James when it says, faith without works is dead. Well, it's not saying you got to do works to be saved. It's saying, if you're saved, it's going to cause you to do good works. And if it doesn't, then maybe you need to question if you're saved. But yeah, that disconnect, man, it just, you know, it also makes me think of Matthew 25 when he says, thank you for, you know, give me water when I thirst, food when I was hungry, taking care of me when I was sick. And they said, Lord, I didn't do that. Well, when you did it to the least of your brothers and sisters, you did it to me. So, you know, the gentleman behind me did. I didn't. So all these things were like I was comfort in these things, and it's so easy to find comfort in worldly things. That's why they say the broad road. Many gonna try to travel down that wide road, and very few down that narrow road. You know. So and when the Lord tells you to be obedient to Him, how are you gonna be obedient if you're not reading the Word? How are you gonna know if you're not reading the Word? How are you gonna get to know Him? So I had to start back reading the Word and getting that reconnect with Jesus, and um, I just wanted to lay that out there that, you start reading the word. I mean, and you can keep praying every morning, and um, you're you're spreading the gospel, and like it says in Matthew 28:19, you're spreading the gospel. But you need to read the word daily to stay connected to Jesus, stay connected. You need to do that. You don't want to fall away. Not now. I mean, we're in the last days, so you don't want to fall away now. And all this worldly stuff, like he says in Mark 8, what does it profit a man to gain all this stuff just to lose his soul? You know, I mean, what would you give for your soul? So none of that stuff matters. Jesus matters. We worship Him. We praise Him. We spread the good news about Him, and keep reading your word. Keep reading your word.